What's going on, everyone? Climate Data Report here for another weather update for Wednesday, March 15th, 2023. If you are new to the channel and this is the first time you've checked out our weather updates, give the channel a subscribe down below. That way you know when I will be doing future updates. Last week we covered the nor'easter in the northeast and the storm systems that came on shore in the west coast. Today we have some more weather to talk about. First off, take a look at satellite here. You can see our major nor'easter in the northeast. It is starting to slowly exit the coast. However, it's still going to be windy again today and perhaps again tomorrow too. Wind gusts today could be 40 to 45 miles per hour in some places. Yesterday we saw a peak wind gust down in Atlantic City, New Jersey of 58 miles per hour, and places in the mountains of New England really got waffled with snowfall. We'll get to the snowfall amounts in a little bit. The atmospheric river came on shore in California yesterday. There's still some rain in Southern California, and unfortunately this does not look like it's going to be the last system. There could be another system as we head into next week. Taking a look at the latest radar picture here, and you will see there's still some snow showers to be found in spots in New England, but that is slowly diminishing. We have our other system here that's providing snow up into Idaho, Montana, even portions of the Dakotas, and it's rain down in the Four Corners region, though there may be some mountain snow. Tomorrow that's going to become a severe weather threat for Texas into Louisiana. Alright, let's take a look at some snowfall amounts up in New England because they are rather impressive. And the areas of around Albany, you got anywhere between 10 to as high as 21 inches just east of Albany. Here's a report that comes up as 26 inches in Averill Park. So that's really impressive. Then you come over here into Vermont and look at this one right here. Wilmington, Vermont. Yeah, 37 inches of snow. Here's another impressive snowfall amount right here down here in Plainsfield, Vermont. You had over 30 inches of snow, and it actually says here max snowpack, 41 inches of snow on the ground. How about New Hampshire? Look at it here in New Hampshire. It says accumulated snowfall depth is at 30 inches in Rindage, New Hampshire. But as you got closer to the coast, the I-95 corridor, as we were saying throughout the event, there really wasn't much in the way of accumulation. Minimal accumulation, actually. If we look down here in New Canaan, Connecticut, just 1.5 inches of snow. Boston actually underperformed what I was expecting to happen. If we take a look at Boston amounts, you can see just barely even an inch. You have to get northwest of Boston to get over 2 inches. And I thought they would get at least 2 inches in Boston, but hey, they did not. New York City at one point, I thought maybe they would get a little accumulation, and majority of the reporting stations say a trace. There was one out here on Long Island that says nearly half an inch. Here's another one out here that says an inch. So New York City and Long Island, this was not an impressive storm for you. So you head into the Poconos region of Pennsylvania. There you got anywhere between 4 to 8 inches of snow. Here's a report that has 7.3 inches of snow in Moscow, Pennsylvania. Here's another one down here, Lake Harmony, 7.6 inches of snow. Here's one, 8.3 inches of snow accumulated in Milford, Pennsylvania. So, I mean, this was a very impressive system for that area at this time of year. And let's just do one more New York report. Here in central New York, or almost central New York, 31.6 inches of snow. And when you take a look at the map, look at it, how widespread these snowfall amounts are. Really impressive. Here's the map from Boston itself, and you can see in the mountains of western Massachusetts and northern Connecticut, you can see where that 18 to 24 inch amounts are, with those isolated amounts of 30 to 36 inches in the Massachusetts mountains. That's really impressive. Still have some remaining winter weather advisories in New England, and even a winter storm warning in northern Vermont. They should expire this afternoon. And the southeast, we have yet again another day where there are hard freeze warnings, which are in effect for tonight. Winter storm watches are up for portions of the plains and the upper Midwest. That's because there's snowfall that is expected there tomorrow night. We have winter storm watches up in the mountains of Idaho and up through Montana, and there's still flood watches up for the western portions of the Four Corners region, as this system is going to provide heavy rain for you. Taking a look at the latest HRR, this is the 12Z HRR, and let's time this out. As you can see, the storm system is going to travel through the Rockies today and eventually come east of the Rockies. Our low in the northeast, that is going to exit the picture today. And watch what happens as we get closer to near the end of the Hurrah run. You can see there's snow up there in the Great Lakes, and then you can see the severe weather starts to break out in Texas. And speaking of that severe weather, look at the SPC here. An enhanced risk was now added for tomorrow for portions of Texas, southern Oklahoma, and southwest Arkansas, because of the wind threat and because of the hail threat. Tornado threat, yeah, it's there, but it's only 5%. That's not my biggest concern for tomorrow, but it's definitely something we're going to watch. The NATOcast model has not come out yet for today. I will retweet it on my Twitter when it does, and I'm very interested to see what that says for the tornado potential. Let's take a look at the FV3 model, which usually has a good handle on these systems, and we're going to fast forward it into tomorrow. The FV3 is actually showing some elevated convection north of the slight risk area and north of the enhanced risk area. Would not surprise me if there's an isolated severe thunderstorm warning or two with that. But look in the main severe weather area. As you can see here, a good old-fashioned squall line gets going from Texas through Louisiana. It starts out broken up, but then it does organize. And look what happens here. It just keeps on going, and it continues going into Friday and eventually gets to the Florida Panhandle. Now here is where the run actually ends. But if we go back to the SPC and we go back to the day 3 outlook, take a look here. Parts of the Florida Panhandle, southern Alabama, southern Mississippi, and southeast Louisiana, including New Orleans, is now in a slight risk for severe weather. And we thought that would happen. I think it's possible we may see this slight risk get shifted a little bit more, expanded a little bit more north to maybe include Georgia and parts of Alabama. We'll have to see if that actually happens or not. It would be tomorrow when that happens. All right, we do want to take a look at the longer range forecast because we have that cold weather that's coming over the weekend. Here's the Canadian model we use today. And you can see here comes the weekend. Very windy and cold weather moves in by Saturday night for much of the east. And Sunday is going to be an unusually cold day for March standards. As you can see here, the thickness lines, 540, which would be below freezing in parts of the atmosphere. Yes, that gets all the way down to the Gulf Coast. Unfortunately, that means more very cold weather in the south, and nighttime would be in the 30s to even perhaps below freezing in places like Tennessee, northern Alabama, northern Georgia, maybe even the Carolinas. So, yeah, that's something we have to watch. As we get into next week, that storm system for next week, it's still present here on the Canadian model, and it's still also present on the GFS. Let's take a look at the GFS for that as well. The GFS has been showing a very well-organized system that forms in the Gulf of Mexico, which would actually be some good news for Florida because Florida continues to be in abnormal to near moderate drought conditions, so they could use the rain right now. And watch what happens here. It really blossoms up over Florida and then becomes a slow-moving system off the south coast. The reason why it's slow-moving off the southeast coast is because you have a 1040 millibar high that's just north of New England. Now, at this time frame, we're looking at next Wednesday. That's 174 hours out from this 6C run of the GFS. Look how slow it moves here. This would be a major impact event down south. It would cause wind, it would cause coastal flooding and some erosion, and it would also provide heavy rainfall. It actually takes until Friday of next week for this to exit the picture. If we take a look at the European ensemble from last night, watch what happens here. Here's our potential system at 168 hours. It is showing there could be the potential for an area of low pressure forming on the east coast. However, it shows it coming more north like the GFS was showing yesterday. Take a look at this. It actually has it going off the mid-Atlantic coast. So there is still enough support to say we have to watch for a coastal system on the east coast next week. Will it come all the way up the east coast? Will it exit off the south? That's a question that still remains, but I definitely think this is a credible storm threat that we need to watch, and we should have a better picture of what it's going to do as we get into this weekend, and it's something we will update on again tomorrow. All right, taking a look at the Climate Prediction Center for today. 6-day temperature 6 to 10 day temperature outlook for the West Coast is, you guessed it, below average again, but also below average in the south, while near normal in the Northeast. The only place that's above average is South Florida. 8 to 14 day outlook, yet again the West Coast is below average. The East is near normal with above average in Florida and above average from Boston on northward in New England. Precipitation, well above average precipitation expected out in California because, as I said, there's going to be another system coming onshore. In fact, let's take a look at that on the models real quickly, shall we? Here's the GFS model again, and watch what happens out here in California. Yes, another system's coming onshore on Tuesday. And this is, it's an atmospheric river. Look what happens here. You just have continuous waves of precipitation for about a 48-hour period. And there's even indications there could be another storm system behind that. So next week, it's going to be another challenging time for parts of California. Taking a look at the 8 to 14 day precipitation outlook, still above average out west and above to slightly above average in the East Coast, because remember, we have that storm system we're watching for late next week, and plus there's going to be some more threats for precipitation beyond that point. Below average precipitation expected for western portions of Texas. Alright guys, that does it for today's weather update. We'll have another one again tomorrow. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button down below. If you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button down below, and you will know the next time I do an update. Until next time, have a great day, everyone.